Hi, welcome back to my stat class. So today we'll talk about reading the data. So there's two types of variables. So what is variables? Variable is the characteristic of being recorded or measured, such as we're trying to measure the average income of each SPSCC student. So we may try to record in the height of the student, their income, of the household income, and the birthplace, and so on. These are the characteristics being recorded and measured. These are called variables. Okay, so there are two types of variable, numerical and categorical. So in general, numerical, they also call it quantitative variable. Quantitative, wrong spelling. And then categorical is more like qualitative variable. So in another word, numerical data is the numerical variable is sensible when you try to add, subtract, or take average with those values. Okay, so for example, we don't report like area code. We don't report in area code as a numerical data. Why is that? Because it doesn't have clear meaning when we try to take, hey, what's the average of the what's the average of an area code? Or what's the sum of the area code, right? So that's why we don't consider area code as numerical. So now, under the numerical data, there's two types, continuous and discrete. So what is continuous data? So continuous variable, I keep saying the data. So continuous variable is a variable whose value can be obtained by measuring. Such as the height of student in the class, the weight of student in the class, time to take to get to school, or distance travel between classes. These variables are considered continuous variable. So what about discrete? So discrete variable is a variable whose value is obtained by counting, such as the number of students attend a present today, numbers of red marbles in the drawer, the numbers of heads when flipping the 3 coins, and students' grade level. Those are discrete variable. So on the graph, usually when you see continuous variable, it's more like smooth. All the dots they can connecting together. Whereas discrete is more like scatter point. Oops. Oops, sorry. And then discrete is more like, hey, counting. It's not smooth, it's not continuous. Okay, so now let's talk about what is categorical data. So categorical data is the data represent the type of data which may be divided by groups. such as race, sex, or age group, education level, These are an example of categorical data, a variable. I'm sorry, I keep saying data, but it's variable. So we have three types of categorical variable: regular categorical variable, ordinal, identifier. So let's talk about identifier first, because these are the easiest one. So identified variable is some variable that we use to identify specific data, such as ID. You only got, if you know the ID, you will identify the person or phone number. Names. So these are identified data. So usually those data are unique. Okay, so what is regular categorical data? So these, not data, variable. So regular categorical variable is identified as data that is used for naming or labeling variable without quantity value. So basically, when you see the words, usually they are regular categorical, such as gender, race, or hair color, or eye color, country, where are you from? These are considered regular categorical data. So what is ordinal variable? So ordinal variable is a list with a order number, like the example that I have earlier, area code. This looks like a number, but it's not numerical because you can add or subtract or take an average of it. So these we consider as categorical data. They can be measured or they can be counted. Such as having the position in the class that is first place, second place, third place. These are also considered like a ranking. In general, ranking are considered ordinal variable. Okay, so now we have two new concepts. What is cases and the variable? So the cases of data are the respondent, participants, subjects, or experimental unit that are being asked for measured. So basically it asks you who and what participate in the survey. Okay, so the variable are the characteristic of measurement that can be recorded or measured. So in here, the example is, what is variable? Gender is variable. Let me use different color of pen. Highlighter, so we know, okay, variable, such as gender is variable, credits are variable, awards are variable, siblings, all of the first row, these are variables because these are the characteristics or measurement that been recorded and measured. Okay, so now look at our data matches. So in here, we totally have what? 10 sample size, totally 10 people participate into this survey. So take a look. So what would be the case? Case would be who participate in the survey, which are 10 statistics students. These are the cases. Okay. So what are the variable in the data? Like I said earlier, oh, I forgot one. The first one, haha, you may cut it. ID, gender, credits, awards, sibling, TV, and school rating and post. Those are all variables. Oops. Okay, now number C is ask you to describe each variable as categorical or numerical. Okay, so remember what I talked about? Numerical is what? Data that you can obtain by counting. That's discrete. Discrete variable is data that you can obtain by counting. Oh no, that's discrete. I'm sorry. What's categorical? Categorical is the quantitative data, and numerical is the quantitative data. Quantity, oh my god, my best spelling. I hope I did that right. Okay, so now let's describe each variable. ID. So ID, each one has one, is unique. So the unique one should be what? Identifier variable, right? Which is the categorical variable. So we know that this is the identify one, which is under the categorical variable. Okay, what about gender? So gender, the words, so definitely not numbers, it's not numerical. It has to be categorical. In fact, it's going to be the regular categorical because gender is not unique and it's not ordinal. Ordinal has to be the number list of an order manner. So regular. Okay, credits. So now when we think about credits, let's take a look. Credits were 15, 12, 12, 5, and 12, 10. So credits should be what? Numerical, right? So is this considered a, can you measure by counting, or it's going to measure by, is that obtained by measuring or obtained by counting? So think about it. So credits should be obtained by counting, right? So this is going to be a discrete variable. What about awards? So awards, they use the word to connect the variable, which is categorical and is regular categorical. Siblings. So you can say I have 1, 3, 2, and 5 siblings, right? So it has to be numerical because it makes sense when you try to add or take average, like say, hey, what's the total sibling that students have, right? Okay, so it's numerical. Is that going to be discrete or going to be continuous? Since it's obtained by counting, we're counting how many siblings do they have. This is going to be discrete. Okay, TV, numerical. And also discrete. School ratings. So does it make sense that when you try to add, okay, the school that I come from is ranking number 1, the school that he's come from is ranking number 3. So what's the average rating of the school? You can't do that, right? That doesn't make sense. That means this is not numerical. It has to be categorical. Oh, sorry. Really bad spelling. Categorical. Okay. So is that going to be regular or ordinal or identified? Definitely not identified because you can have 2 schools have the same ranking. So it's going to be ordinal. Okay, pauses. Pauses, that one is tricky. We know that has to be numerical. But is that going to be discrete or going to be a continuous? I think they can be both. Depends on, because you can measure pauses, you can also measure obtain the pauses by counting. So in this case, you can say this is both discrete or continuous variable. Okay, so that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know.